All right, so let's greet each other properly here. Good morning. Good morning. All right, we are live with my period 2 here at Great Oak High School, and we're going to continue on our spreadsheet. So for those people at home, you can follow along. So let me see here. We talked about our monthly income sources. We have our scenario is that we're in college. We're talking about how we right here. In this fixed expense category that we're living in a house, or you guys are living in a house with 3 other people, so it's a 4-bedroom house. And the way we got 700 is that we took the average rental price of a home, not rental price, but rental cost of a home, which was about 2,800, like here in Murrieta or Temecula somewhere. And if you take 2,800 divided by 4, you get 700. That's where we got that number. And then we're just trying to figure out, what are all the different types of expenses that you incur as you go through college and life beyond high school. Okay, and so we ended with it looks like the college expenses like tuition, books, school supplies, computer, printer, flights, and all that kind of stuff. Now, of course, you won't have a number in for flights. I'm using my son as an example here. He's in flight school, but you guys are going into college. So if that's the case, you might want to, you can put 0 here. Or maybe even modify that and put something in that's appropriate for you. So when you go into college next year, you're going to be modifying this, adding, subtracting the titles, modifying the titles, putting in all the correct numerical data in there that makes sense for you when you're in college. Okay, one thing that we have not done yet is holidays. Okay, so you got to plan for holidays, because holidays it's pretty darn expensive, especially when you get my age. So go ahead and decrease here. Let's separate the categories with a column. So add in this little column width right here. And let's put in a title called Holidays. So here we go, guys. Follow me. Now when you make a title, go ahead and select J2 and K2, highlight them. Go up here to the very top and find your merge. I was talking about how when you merge 2 cells, you're going to make 2 cells become 1. And you do that for titles. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to bold it, and I'm going to change it to 12 font, make it a little bit bigger, and I'm also going to center it. Okay, just some formatting, and I'm also going to use the fill. These are all the commands in the very top up here. I'm going to change the fill color just to make it its own unique category, and you pick your color of choice. Okay, that's not a good color, so let's change the color. So okay. So what is probably the most expensive holiday during the year? Yep. For me, it's at least $1,000 or more because I'm a father. So you put in, let's type in Christmas here. And you got to reflect back on last Christmas and what you spent. And that's going to be different for everybody. But I want you to put in a number that makes sense for you based upon the last Christmas. Okay, this for, let's say my son, he probably spent $300 or $400 on Christmas because he bought for us and his parents and his siblings and his cousins and so on. So you put a number that makes sense. So I'm going to put in $300 or $400 for him. 300 is good. Okay, put a number that makes sense for you, a realistic number. What's another holiday that you perhaps spend some money on? Okay, Thanksgiving. So what do you spend money for? Okay, so you actually buy food for Thanksgiving? Oh, okay. All right, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving here. How much do you spend, Jacob? On average. Okay, let's put 100. Okay, what's another holiday that we spend money on? Valentine's Day. Raise your hand if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend. A special someone, raise your hand. Who's got a special someone? I do. Okay, so if you have a special someone, you're going to be spending some money, right? So for me, shoot, man, when you add in date night on Valentine's night, and then flowers and some sweets and maybe a special gift, that could easily be $200. Easy. Okay, what's another holiday that we spend money on? Halloween, yes. If you have to buy a costume, that costs money. So Halloween, Like even a wig is expensive. Who's bought last Halloween? Who bought a wig or a costume? What'd you spend?
I think we spent like $20.
That's it?
I mean, it was just a day.
Okay, because they can get expensive. It can get expensive. So let's put in $50 at least. What's another holiday that we spend money on?
Birthdays?
Okay, birthdays, yes. Birthdays and birthdays, and there's probably a lot of them. So you have to figure out what's appropriate. So if you take all the birthdays that like for your parents and your siblings and anybody that you celebrate for, you got to take all that, add it up, and come up with a number for the year, and then divide that by 12. So let's say you spend over like 10 birthdays in your family, and let's say you spend $500. You got to take that and divide it by 12 to get a monthly expense. So let me make it easy for you. Let's say it's $480. Making the numbers easy. What's $480 divided by 12? 40. So put in $40 there, maybe 50. Okay, that's an average number per month that you got to plan on. Okay, what's another holiday that you spend money on?
4th of July.
Yes. What do we buy then?
Fireworks.
Yeah, that's right. And who goes to Needles or Laughlin during that month? Okay, so or Mexico, right? I go to Laughlin with my buddies, and there's who's been to the Avi in what's it called? Oh, Needles. Who's been there? No one? Who knows what I'm talking about? Avi, the Needles, the river, Laughlin, Colorado River. Holy cow, we need a field trip. Okay. You guys, there's an Indian reservation there, and they sell all the good fireworks. So we go stock up, but they're expensive. So let's 4th of July here. Put in 4th of July. And I don't know what you spend on there. Just put a number in that makes sense for you. You can buy fireworks around here too if they're legal. But let's just put $100 in, even though when you go do what I do, you're spending more than $100. You're probably spending $200 or $300. And then to have a good time. What's another thing that we spend money on? Maybe, yeah, but that's probably kind of light. I don't know. You can put that in if you want. What was that?
New Year's.
Yeah, okay. New Year's Eve.
Just kidding.
Okay, no, you can put that in. This is your spreadsheet. You can put that in. Come on, you're missing 2 important days that you have to spend money on that are very important. Okay, we'll put in Easter as well. But more important than that. Well, no, that's pretty damn important. So, but you spend more money on what I'm talking about. They brought you into the world.
Oh, Mother's Day.
That's right. Mother's Day, Ann. You better not forget your parents, man. Okay. So,
Black Friday.
and so for Mother's Day, you put in 1,000, right? No, I was just kidding, but it sounds good, doesn't it? She would like that. Okay, so put in a number that makes sense. Put $100 in there. Dad, put in $500. No, I'm just kidding. Put $100. Make it equal. Put a number in for Easter, like $25 maybe. New Year's, probably more. New Year's, everybody does something special on New Year's Eve. So you put a number in there that makes sense to you. Okay. Now type in total. Yeah, I always got to total this stuff up. Okay. So let's bold this and make it red. Always put your totals in red so they pop out. So what's our total command? What do we type in? Okay, equals sum. So equals sum, parentheses, and then highlight the cells that you want to sum up, and then hit the enter button. And this does not look like currency, so highlight those cells and hit the $sign. Make them look like currency. And it looks like we didn't do this. We didn't get to this on college. Our college does not have a total, so I guess we didn't do that yesterday. So let's do it. So total. So always equals sum. This is the most basic command in Excel. It's the command that's used a lot because in spreadsheets, totals are very, very, very common, especially in budgeting. So notice that I'm formatting a little bit here. So I put all the totals in red because what we're going to do is we're going to have to subtract them from the income total to get the net income when we're ready. Okay. There's another category that we need. So before I add that in, does anybody have any questions up to this point? Okay. Does anybody have a credit card yet? Okay, a few of you guys. And if you don't have one, you're going to need one before you go to college. So you have a homework assignment here. You need to talk to your parents, set up a date, go to your bank, whatever bank you choose, or your parents' bank, and you go with your parents and have them co-sign and get you a credit card so that you can take that into college because you're going to need it. I did that for my son before he went to college because you don't always have cash available in the bank because you guys don't have probably thousands of dollars in the bank unless you've been working for quite a while. So if you don't have the cash in the bank, you're going to need a credit card so you can obviously pay tuition, books, and all that kind of stuff. So let's type in credit card. And let's make it a title. So highlight those two cells, merge them together, make it look like a title. I'm going to choose a different fill color. And again, you pick the colors. It could be anything. Oh, and center it too. So let's make it center, do everything, and then bold it, and then make it 12 font, make it bigger. There we go. Now, I've been banking with Schools First for over 20 years, so I'm going to type in Schools First, but you type in your bank, whatever that may be. And credit card expenses are personal, so if you have a balance on your credit card that you need to put in there, that you need to pay off, then you put that whatever's in there. So I'm going to make up a hypothetical number for my son Dustin. I'm just going to put 200 in there. His expenses fluctuate over the month, and when he pays for his flights, like yesterday he flew a cross-country flight to Santa Barbara and back, and that was $600. And so he just put that on his credit card, and then he'll pay that off. And so he would have to change that to 600 there. Does anybody, and you're probably going to have more than one. As you get older, you're going to have more than one credit card. So, for example, I have my Schools First, but I also have Costco because I'm a father with a family, and I go to Costco all the time. So I'm going to put in a Costco account here. But you could just do a fictitious thing in here. And my Costco bills are pretty expensive because I gas up there and I pay for a lot of food there. So we spend thousands of dollars there over the, per month and also per year. So I'm just going to put in $100 just because it's Dustin. It's going to be a lot less than me. Leave a space to add another credit card. So, and then type in total. Again, you're going to modify this later on in college as you guys really get going here. As you become more independent, and as you pay for more and more things, you're going to modify this. So the sum command. So sum. Add up your columns. Make them look like currency. How you doing, Hayden?
Morning. Good, how are you?
All right, join us. And then let's bold it and make it red. Okay. So again, I'm just giving you the nuts and bolts of a spreadsheet here. This is nothing fancy. There are way more advanced things that you could do with these spreadsheets. And I'm working on something, and if I get it prepared before tomorrow, I'm going to show you some more advanced stuff if I get it prepared in time. But these are the basics. Okay, so now, of course, you can add more categories. And so if there's a category in your budget that's not up here on the screen that you need to add, well, you just go to the right here, and then you separate it with a little column width, and then you put another category in. So you can do that. That's up to you. Okay, and you're going to have to analyze your expenses and ask yourself, is this complete? And if the answer is no, then you add another category. Okay. I want to transition though. I want to incorporate investments because this class we talked about investments in our last project. So I'm going to bring you back to our last project. So just bring your eyes up at the screen, and this is our Chapter 5 project part 2. You guys remember this one last week? Okay. Yes? Okay, so on the last problem, look at this. I'm going to show you the last. And you don't have to take this out because it's up here on the screen. We solved this problem here. We had this weekly pay stub here with a fictitious person, Bob Johnson, right here, and then notice all these deductions were taken out, and the last deduction was 401k, and this was a 10% of his gross earnings, and then we in this problem here in Part F, if you look at it up there, the company added 6% match on that. So instead of depositing only 10%, he deposits 16% of the gross earnings. Which if you look at Part G, that's $123.84. And then in Part H, if you take that weekly deduction, which is your investment in your 401k, and you right here, if you take that much and you deposit it every week for 45 years at 6.5%, look at this number, man. This is huge. You're going to have $1.7 million or $1,743,000 when you retire in 45 years. And that right there is staggering. And that just goes to show you the power of investing a small amount of money periodically every week. And if you guys start doing that as soon as you get out of college, you're going to be okay when you retire at 60. You're going to have money. You're going to have plenty of money in the bank. Unfortunately, not everybody knows this, and not everybody does this, and so they have to work until their 70s. Some people I know work every day of their life, and they're in the upper 70s, which is not something I want to do. I want to actually slow down a little bit and have some the ability to travel or do some other things versus working every day of my life. So the point is to invest. So what we need to do is program this formula here, which is your periodic investment formula, in Excel, and let it calculate all this for us automatically, which is sweet. That's the power of Excel. So I'm gonna program this with you guys. I'm gonna program that formula in. So I'm gonna leave it up there. Okay, so come down here, go down here with me, skip a line right there, and type in periodic investments. Oh, you know what I forgot to do first? Valerie, what did I forget to do? Yeah, before we do that, I forgot to do this. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We got to figure out what our net income is. We're bringing, in this hypothetical situation for my son Dustin, he has $7,000 worth of income, but he's got all these expenses going out. $800 is going to be subtracted. For college, $2,750 is going to be subtracted. Everything in red is going to be subtracted from this. And what is left over is called your net. So before we do our periodic investments, we got to calculate this. This is the most important number. This is the reason why we do spreadsheets. So you got to figure out how much do you have left over after you pay all the bills. Okay, so here we go. Follow me. This is a big step. And I'll go slow because this is the most important step. So we start off a formula with an equal sign. And what we need to do is take the 7,000, which is in B7 right here. So click on it. And we need to subtract all of these expenses, all of them. Okay, and there's two ways to do it. One way is to subtract the sum of them. So go minus, parentheses. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up all the expenses in all the categories. So in the savings category, I'm going to take 800 and add it to the 2750 in the college category, add it to the 1065 in the holiday category, and add all these up, and we're going to get a total there, and it's going to be subtracted from the 7,000, and what's left over is called the net income. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the savings. So click on 800 in the savings. You don't type in 800 in formulas, you always click on the cell. Now hit the plus sign. Okay, and then click on go to college category, click on the 2750. Hit the plus sign. Go to the holiday category. And by the way, the order of this doesn't matter. I'm just picking an order here. And notice they're highlighted so you can see exactly what I'm adding up. hit the plus sign again, go to the fixed expenses category, and highlight, click on $1,360, and then hit the plus sign, and then variable expenses is $1,030, and then plus, and then your last category is credit cards, and then end it with parentheses, and then hit the return button. But before I hit the return button, look at in the formula. It tells you exactly what you're doing right here. So we're taking B7, which is the total income, and we're subtracting all of the expenses. And when that's like you're paying all the bills. And so after you pay off all those expenses, whatever number that appears right here is what's called the net income. It's the money left over that you have in your account when you pay everything off. And what does that mean? It says negative 305. So what does that imply? It implies not enough income. It means that what I'm underspending or overspending. Yeah. So in this case, if this is Dustin right here, he's in trouble. So right here, he's going to have to either earn more or spend less, one of the two. And this is why this number here is so important. This one here, your net income number, because it shows you that you're either not earning enough money or you're spending too much, which is probably the case, or a combination of both. And a lot of people don't realize what they're spending because we have what's called electronic society nowadays, and all we do is swipe a card. Very few people carry cash, and we don't realize how much we're spending because you're either making Amazon purchases or you're swiping things on your credit card or your ATM card, and you don't realize how much money's going out. And that's the power of the spreadsheet, because right here it tells you that there's an overspending problem here. You guys with me on that? And that's why I'm doing this with you guys, because it's an important thing. I actually had this discussion with my son the other day, and we were sitting side by side at home doing this right here. Okay, so let's go back to the periodic investments, unless there's a question. Okay, so let's make this a little bit bigger. So change the title size, and I'm going to bold it, change the color so it pops out. So let's talk about periodic investments. And the first periodic investment I want to talk about is the weekly periodic investment, like in our Chapter 5 project. So type in weekly periodic investment. Now that title is kind of long, so I'm going to increase the column width a little bit to make it look good. And I'm going to, again, I'm going to make this a title, so I'm going to merge two cells together. And I'm going to choose a different fill color. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here. Okay. Just formatting a little bit as I go. All right. Oh, I forgot to center it. Okay, so what we need to do, let me go back to our project here. We need to put all this information in right here. I need to put in P, periods are periodic investment. I need to know what the R value is. Interest rate is R. N is the number of compounding periods, and T is the amount of time in years. So I have to define all those variables first. So follow me. So the first thing is the weekly deposit. You know, what is it? Are you going to deposit $100, $200, $300? What are you going to deposit, right? It's called a weekly deposit. And the variable for that is P. Okay, and we'll put a number in there in a minute. So that's the first thing you need to know. How much you're going to be depositing weekly. The second thing you need to know is the time in years. Okay, how long are you going to let it sit in there, in the 401k or into your mutual fund, whatever. And see, you guys are 17 or 18, right? So how old are you going to be? If you're 17, in 4 years, how old are you going to be? 21. And if you're 18, you're going to be 22. And so if you're 21 or 22 when you get out of college, you're going to have to work for probably 40 years until you retire. Most people don't retire before 60 unless you have a very, very good job and you save a ton of money. And if that's the case, good for you. You can retire early. But I plan on retiring around 61 as a teacher after 36 years of teaching. So time in years is called T. So comma T equals something. So we'll put the values in here in a minute. The next one you need to know is like, how are we compounding? Are we compounding weekly, monthly, biweekly, daily, what all that? So number of compounding periods, and that's n. So n equals something. And then the next one, the last thing we need to know is what's the interest rate of the investment, and that's determined by whatever your investment is. So when you start investing in mutual funds or 401ks or whatever, they'll tell you what the interest rate is. So interest rate, and that's R obviously. So R equals something. Okay, so let's put in the values here. So let's make it. Let's just choose a very simple hypothetical number like $100. Because in the beginning, even that's going to be hard for you guys in college. $100 a week is how much per month? $100 per week is how much per month? So I don't know if you can afford that, right off the bat. So because in college, you're going to have a lot of expenses. But let's just put in $100 just to play with numbers. Okay, make that currency. So click on the $sign. And the time in years, let's say you're going to graduate at 21 or 22, as I was saying earlier. And you're going to probably retire in 40 years later. So let's use 40 years as our time. You could change that if you want to work till 65, you could change that. Or if you want to retire earlier at 55, you could change it to 35. So that can be changed later. It's just save early and then you can retire early, right? Okay. Now, the first example is weekly, right? How many weeks per year? How many weeks per year? So the number of compounding periods is 52. Okay, and let's just use 6% as our interest rate. But before you put a 6 in there, come up here to the top, click on percent first before you put the number in. So you format it first. So click on the percent symbol and then type the number 6 in, and notice that it comes up not as 6, but it comes up as 6%. So Excel knows that it's a percentage, not just a number. There's a difference because 6% is 0.06 as a number. Okay, now we got to type in your formula. So here we go. So this is your amount, future amount. Let's type in future amount. And we're going to call this A. Okay, or you could say future balance, future amount, whatever. And it's going to be, it's, in our project it was pretty big. Our future amount was over, almost $2 million. We could change it to 123.84 if you wanted to. We can verify that number here in a minute. Okay, here's formula time. Now let me go back to this. When we put this formula in, very important. A couple of very important things. We have to use two parentheses, so it's whatever the principal is. And again, we don't put in numbers, we click on cells. But we're going to have to double up on the left and go 1 plus r divided by n. And when you raise it to this power, this has got to be in parentheses here. You'll see me do that. And then we have to remember to subtract 1, end it with parentheses. And then when you divide it by r divided by n, that's got to be in parentheses too. So you're going to see all that. Okay, if you want me to bring this up on the screen again, I will. Okay, so you don't type in numbers, you type in cells. So start off with an equal sign, and it tries to predict you, but I don't want to sum these up. I'm doing something totally different. So click on the B22, where the deposit is. And notice it says B22. So this is what I'm depositing up here. So don't type in 100, you click on the cell. Now, you guys, what's the time symbol on your keyboard? The asterisk. And your asterisk is right above number 8. So go Shift 8. Double open your left parentheses. Okay, and now I'll bring up the formula again. Look at this. So I just entered the P and I doubled up here, and now I have to type in 1 plus R divided by N. So I go 1 plus R. Now I don't type in R, I click on R. So click on your interest rate. You click on it, you type in the cell number, and you get, which is B25 in this case. Divided by is a slash on your keyboard. Your division is your slash, which is next to your shift key on your lower right of the keyboard. There's your division symbol. And you want to do R divided by N, and N is in B24. So you type B24 or just click on B24. You do not type in 52, because that's going to change here in our next example. And then I got to raise it to the NT power. So you guys know what the caret is above? Look at the number 6 above that. You guys know what the caret symbol is?
Yeah.
Yes? So go shift 6. That's your power button. If you're not sure what it is, talk to your group right now. And then go parentheses. And it's N times T. It's raised to the NT power. So I got to click on N, and then I go asterisk, shift 8, type on, click on T, which is in B23, close it off with parentheses. And then what do we have to do now in our formula? Because now I'm right here.
Oh, no, minus.
Look right here. What do we have to do? Yeah, if you don't subtract 1, you're not going to get the right value. So you got to subtract 1, end it with parentheses. Now divide it, and then parentheses again, R divided by N. So R is 6%, divided by N, which is in B24, parentheses. And if I did it correctly, a number will appear. If you don't do it correctly, then you're going to say, it's going to say invalid or error. So I'm going to hit the return button now. Who is able to get it? Okay. Yeah. So it's up here, Scott?
Yes.
Okay, everybody help each other out. Everybody check each other's screens right now. And if you're not getting it, help each other out real quick. Now, we had a little issue in period 1, and the issue was right here at the what's called the caret symbol. If your caret symbol is really, really small, what you do is I want you to delete it, and then you go shift 6, and you hit it twice, and that will fix it. It happened to 2 people in last period, and it was kind of weird. It didn't come out right for some reason, and they were getting an error message. So it has to look like that right there. It has to look like a good caret. Everybody check each other. Make sure everybody gets it. Samantha and Nathan, are you guys good back there? Is that a yes or? Okay. Ed and Ava, you guys good? Does anybody need help at this point? Angela, you good? Good. Tristan, you good? Gentlemen, are we good? Iris and Brian, are you guys okay on that? Okay. Are you guys ready to continue? Well, it's part of it. So the compound interest formula is in right here. So the interest is compounding weekly in this case. That's why you're able to go get this much money in the end, because if you take 40 times 52, which is 2,080, okay? You take 2,080 times this, that's how much you deposited, which is a lot less than this. And the reason why you're getting this kind of money is because of the compounding the interest. Okay, so can we continue? Andrew, you able to calculate? You got it? Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, I want to switch to biweekly deposit. So watch the screen up here. I'm going to highlight this group of cells. Eyes up. When you highlight a group of cells, you put your cursor in the middle of a cell and you click and drag and you highlight this. I want to copy this and I'm going to paste it here and modify it rather than retyping everything. So be smart as you do it. So go Control C, and whenever you copy something, it changes to, it looks like this right here with this dotted line thing. Okay, that's what happens when you copy something. And I want to paste it over here. You got to tell it to where you want to paste it. So select the cell right next to it. And I'm going to go Control V, and notice that the same thing appears because you're pasting, you're copying and pasting. Now, you could deposit every week, but you can go deposit every bi-weekly, okay, every 2 weeks. So let's do a bi-weekly example. So change your title to bi-weekly. Okay, notice the word bi-weekly. Change your, also, instead of a weekly deposit, you got to change it to a bi-weekly deposit, which means every 2 weeks. Okay, so you got to change your titles here. And now you got to change your information here too. Okay, so now 52 is going to change. Instead of depositing every, look right here, instead of depositing every week, which means you deposit 52 times a year, if you deposit every 2 weeks, what is 52 going to change to? Every 2 weeks. How many 2-week periods in a year? There's 26 of them, so change it to 26. And notice it automatically calculates the new future amount. And let's bold these just so you can see them. Okay, so notice that you get a lot less. Okay, and this is not half of this. Okay, you can check that if you want, because we're dealing with compounded interest and it's not it's not linear. So, but you can tell right now that if you don't deposit and invest frequently, you're not going to end up with as much money by a long shot. So it shows you that it's better to deposit frequently versus infrequently, which is something you need to learn about investing. Now you can deposit weekly, bi-weekly. You can also deposit monthly like I do. I get paid once a month, so I take a portion of my income and I put it in my 401k and other investments on a monthly basis. So we need to change that. So go over here. And then paste it in again. Just go Control V. And I'm going to switch from bi-weekly to monthly. So change your title first. So monthly now, because this is how I invest. Change your title here to monthly deposit. So now instead of 52 times a year or instead of 26 times a year, I'm depositing monthly, which is how many times per year? 12. So 52 is going to change to 12. And notice what happens to my future amount. Okay, it is a lot less. It's under 200,000 bucks. And that should make sense because the less frequent that you deposit into your investment, the less money that you're going to have over time. So it's staggering the difference already. So right here, I mean, look at the difference. So almost over $750,000 versus under $500,000 to under $250,000. And it's the same investment, same amount, but not as frequent. Okay, which goes to show you that the more frequent you deposit, the more money you're going to have overall. And the last way that people deposit is called quarterly. So go over here and paste it in again, and let's do a quarterly deposit. People do that sometimes because they get certain earnings, and so they deposit quarterly based upon their earnings. So quarterly. How many quarters per year? There's 4 quarters per dollar, so how many quarters per year? 4. There's usually 4 quarters per year, 4 quarters per dollar. Okay, so let's do a quarterly deposit. I'm changing my column width right now so I can see things a little bit better. Oops. Okay, so I got to change 52. Got to change 52 to what? To 4. There's 4 quarters per year. And notice that the future amount is less than 100,000. It's only 65,000 roughly. Okay. So let's look at what we have so far. So here's our entire spreadsheet. Okay, so we have the income sources in the upper left, followed by all the different categories of your expenditures, and at the bottom of the spreadsheet we have 4 different types of investments. First one's weekly, second one bi-weekly, then monthly, then quarterly. Which should show you that the more frequently you deposit money into your investment, whether it's a 401k or a mutual fund or whatever, the more money you're going to have when you retire in roughly 4 years. And again, if you want to retire early, like Andrew does, okay, what age do you want to retire at?
No idea. 55.
Okay, I'm 54, so right around my age. And if you want to do that, you better start investing early and try to increase that amount as high as you can so you can retire early. Right now, I couldn't retire because I don't have enough money saved up because I didn't invest early. I wish I had this financial discussion with my parents or my teachers, but I didn't. Financial algebra was not available when I was your age. That's why I love this class, because you talk about real life things. It's the first math class in high school, in my opinion, for most students, where you get to actually do real life mathematics that is applied to everything in real life, which is why I love this course. And hopefully you guys appreciate it. Do you guys appreciate it?
I do actually.
Who's, to be honest with me here, and it's okay if you say no, who's enjoying the course overall? Just, compared to other math classes. And okay, so I'm glad that's happening, and I'm enjoying teaching it. This is my second year teaching it, and I've taught all the different classes from algebra through calculus. I haven't taught stats; that's not my favorite. But this right here, this course has been one of my favorites out of all of them. It's because it's so applicable. Yes, sir.
So I'm not sure if we're going to learn in the future, but it's just like one thing that I was wondering about taxes.
Yeah, there's a topic on taxes coming up.
Also, really?
Yeah, it's in the book. We'll get to that later. Tax season's coming up too, by the way. So I think we're going to be talking about taxes during the same time that you submit your taxes. So if you guys have a part-time job and you actually have to fill out the W-2s are, you get those from your employer, but then you file your taxes. Then we'll talk about that stuff. Okay, tomorrow I want to show you, if I get it ready in time, I'm going to show you some advanced features in a spreadsheet, because this is just the basics, guys. There's a lot more advanced things that you can do, bless you, in respect to budgeting and spreadsheets. I mean, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. All right, but when you get into college, and again, you can modify this, add, subtract, categories, make it your own. But tomorrow, if I get it prepared in time, I'll show you some advanced features, if I get it prepared in time, and then we'll continue. Okay. Any questions on this at any point here? Yes, Valerie?
So for the monthly income sources, you would be getting a loan of $1,200 per month. Is that real?
In this scenario, up here, let me see. Yeah, the school loan. What we did there is that when you get a school loan, it's obviously they give you a lump sum per year. So, because some colleges are, they they cost anywhere from 30 to 50,000 per year. So if you get a school loan, they give it to you per, a lump sum, like 30,000, for example, and then what you would do is you would divide it by 12, and you'd get a monthly number, and that's the number that you would enter there. And I just made up a hypothetical number of 1,200 because I had to deal with something. So you have to contact your school, figure out what the overall expenses are going to be, get a loan for that amount, divide it by 12, and that's what you're going to be using on a monthly basis or by a semester basis or whatever is necessary for your college. Did I answer your question? Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna end the recording here, and we'll do some more work later on tomorrow when I see you guys.